For whatever reason, I really just have not felt festive this year. The cold is biting and there is frost on the window panes when I wake, yet not even the slow chirp of the robins on the garden gate has been enough to wake me from the stupor. It confuses me in part because I started on the Christmas preparations very, very early this year. Perhaps it was too orchestrated. I've been very distracted thinking about the future, thinking about what comes next, and perhaps I was too distracted to look at and focus on the beautiful things that were right in front of me. My family, the nature that surrounds me, and the kindnesses which fall in abundance at Christmas time. And yet somehow I've been distracted from those most wonderful things. So many of us love Christmas not because of the presents, not because of the beautiful lights, though all of this is part of it, but because the whole world just seems to come alive and everyone's hearts seem softer than perhaps they are the rest of the year. Like there is just so much kindness at Christmas.
I've just finished the first stave of A Christmas Carol, and truly whenever I read this book it feels a little bit like coming home. Christmas is all about nostalgia, like that's what makes Christmas so beautiful, so magical. It's like harkening back to traditions that have been done year on year since you were born, since you were a child, but also traditions that have been done year on year by generations. So there's kind of like an old nostalgia, and then there's a personal nostalgia, and that's kind of what makes Christmas magical. It's like that George Eliot quote, "We could not love the world so much if we had had no childhood in it." It's that kind of sentiment, I think, with Christmas.
Christmas is a time for nostalgia. It's all about harkening back to traditions. Tradition comes from the Latin word tradere, which means to pass down, and these Christmas traditions are traditions which have been passed down to us by our former selves. They are gifts every single year from the version of ourselves that came before, and our former selves are there in every tradition we embark upon, every Christmas light we see, every rich hot chocolate we sip from, every ornament we hang. These baubles have been handled by me age 3, age 7, age 16, age 20, and those fingerprints remain on the red glass, forever staining, though perhaps I am the only one who can see it. I can see how I've handled these same objects year on year on year, and how they have stayed the same though I have changed. I know that right now as I hang them again, I am leaving yet another mark which will be gladly and perhaps sadly remembered in a Christmas yet to come. Christmas and the end of the year is a time for looking back at everything that got you where you are now, at the things handed down to us by our former selves, and the things that have been handed to us by others, and the things which are not things most especially, the kindnesses and generosity from loved ones which carries you, soothes as a balm on the bruises which arise. And these kindnesses are more welcome now. I think we're more susceptible to them. I think we notice them a lot more at Christmas. You know, originally, kindness was only used to talk about interactions between relatives. Hidden in the word, we've got kin, which of course is, kinship, family members. And so originally the word wouldn't be used in relation to strangers. But over time, I just love how the word has evolved to mean something completely different. And maybe we become related as soon as we open our hearts and show that goodness. Like through kindness, we are able to create new kin. We're able to kindle it. We're able to kind of spawn something new and create new kin. And I think that's really beautiful. I'm reaching the end of this, part 1 of Faust, and oh my gosh, it's so tragic. It's heartbreaking. It's utterly heartbreaking. I mean, madness is a central theme within this book, and I love how the language reflects that madness, and also how the plot does. It kind of moves quite sporadically, which just gives a mystical air to the whole narrative, because it's like you're falling in and out of sleep. That's kind of the best way to depict this. At the moment, Faust is grappling with huge guilt for something that he had wished for and done, and it's just so excellently done, and you just can't feel sorry for him, but you also can see his anguish. It's a lot like the ending to King Lear. Those kinds of emotions are played. So if you liked King Lear, I think you might like this. Oh my gosh, I'm just so glad that I picked this up and I'm reading it. So it's the day before Christmas Eve, and I'm starting to feel the magic again. I can feel it rippling in the air and between the clouds, which will not bring snow this year, but also already have in their way, because I remember Christmases which were as white as seraphim wings and just as bright. I can feel it all around still, and I hope you do too. The magic of Christmas, burning brighter and more warmly because of the bitter coldness outside. It could not be as beautiful without such a winter chill. I'm sending you a very, very happy Christmas, and I hope that it's filled with goodness and warmth, and most importantly, the magic of kindness.
Meanwhile, the fog and darkness thickened so that people ran about with flaring links, proffering their services to go before horses and carriages and conduct them on their way. The ancient tower of a church, whose gruff old bell was always peeping slyly down at Scrooge out of a Gothic window in the wall, became invisible and struck the hours and quarters in the cloud with tremulous vibrations afterwards, as if its teeth were chattering in its frozen head up there. The cold became intense. In the main street at the corner of the court, some labourers were repairing the gas pipes and had lighted a great fire in the brazier, round which a party of ragged men and boys were gathered, warming their hands and winking their eyes before the blaze in rapture. The water plug being left in solitude, its overflowing suddenly congealed and turned to misanthropic ice. The brightness of the shops, where holly sprigs and berries crackled in the lamp heat of the windows, made pale faces ruddy as they passed. Poulterers' and grocers' trades became a splendid joke, a glorious pageant, with which it was next to impossible to believe that such dull principles as bargain and sale had anything to do. The Lord Mayor in the stronghold of the mighty mansion house gave orders to his 50 cooks and butlers to keep Christmas as a Lord Mayor's household should, and even the little tailor, whom he had fined 5 shillings on the previous Monday for being drunk and bloodthirsty in the streets, stirred up tomorrow's pudding in his garret while his lean wife and the babies sallied out to buy the beef. Foggier yet, and colder, piercing, searching, biting cold. If the good St. Dunstan had but nipped the evil spirit's nose with a touch of such weather as that, instead of his usual familiar weapons, then indeed he would have roared to lusty purpose. The owner of one scant young nose, gnawed and mumbled by the hungry cold as bones are gnawed by dogs, stooped down at Scrooge's keyhole to regale him with a Christmas carol, but at the first sound of "God bless ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay," Scrooge seized the ruler with such energy of action that the singer fled in terror, leaving the keyhole to the fog and even more congenial frost. I just love that passage.